Welcome to this video tutorial. I'm going to show you how to structure your answer just to maximise your marks. I will be using a student answer as an example, and this aims to show you the value of just practicing those questions, allowing you to get a bit more confident so then you can submit it and get a little bit more feedback from your tutors. So let's focus on a 10 marker and outline and explain question. Here's a quick reminder about what you've got to do. It's a 15-minute to answer question, 7.5 minutes per paragraph, a little bit extra if you do have exam access arrangements. You want to have 2 balanced paragraphs, roughly the same size. They'll always ask you for reasons, ways, effects, and so on. And in this case, we're looking at a particular idea linked to research methods. Also look for the question hooks. This question does require you to make a link between the two, and we are going to be focusing on the theory and method question, which could appear on paper 1 and paper 3, but there is also this style of question on your topics paper 2. It is also a good idea to have a little bit of a look at the mark scheme. So here is a generic mark scheme, just so you know what you have to do. So if we focus on the top band, you will have to have good knowledge, and you're going to get that through the knowledge of keywords, concepts which are relevant and specialist terms, and showing an understanding of it by explaining what they mean. There'll also be 2 applications of material. So this is where you are clearly linking it to the question. You are applying examples, applying relevant scenarios or studies. And finally, lastly, appropriate analysis. And what I'll do is I will talk you through how you are going to hit those skills of application and analysis to really make sure that you get into that top band. So to get good structure in a 10 mark outline and explain is to explore exactly what the question is asking you to do and understanding where you are going to get the marks from. So like with the longer answer questions, preparation before you start to answer is really key to ensure that you understand what the question is asking. So as with the longer answers, make sure that you are reading the question more than once. The second time you read it, underline the trigger words and the hooks, and using just 1 or 2 minutes out of this 15 minutes just to give yourself a little bit of a plan, annotate round that question, will give you some ideas. And it means 2 things. Number 1, you'll fully understand the separate parts of the question that you've got to write about. And number 2, there might be multiple ways of answering it. So that means you can choose the best 2 that you know the most about and the ones that you can show the most application between the 2 parts. So why do we underline? So underlining and highlighting will focus your attention to exactly what the question is asking, and referring to the different parts as part A and part B. These are the 2 parts of the question that are from 2 separate specification points that the examiner expects you to show application of knowledge between. So the aim here is to challenge you to apply the knowledge to really show a wider understanding rather than just learning chunks of AO1. So in this case, the 2 parts of the spec are is between types of data, which is bullet point number 1 and 3, quantitative and qualitative data, and linking it to sociologists using it, which would be bullet point 5, the choice of method and the conduct of research. So how do you go about structuring an answer for this? So I'm going to look at a student example so we can identify the 2 parts of the question, show the application and a little bit of cheeky AO3. So as you can see, this student has written a chunky paragraph which should take about 7 or 8 minutes to write. So let's firstly identify the different parts. So the first part of the paragraph is about the type of data, and this links to the first part of the question. So I've put that in green, and this is the student's knowledge about quantitative data. And then they start to discuss the part B, the examples of the data and why sociologists might use it in sociological research. But then what the student does is start to make the link between the 2, and using both their knowledge of quantitative data, we can connect it to the sociologist that prefers it. So in this case, it is positivist. So what we'll do is we'll show that in a deeper orange. So already this student has showed really good knowledge about what quantitative data is, and they're linking it to the sociologists that prefer that data, and they're using sentences that are starting to link them together. We see the answer flowing in a logical chain of reasoning. And then the student ends by adding a final piece of analysis. As she digs a little bit further, she states further knowledge about quantitative data, linking in this case to terms such as generalisation to the wider population, and cementing further application by stating this is the reason why sociologists might use it in their research. They end with some critical analysis, linking the concepts of quantitative data and the pitfalls of using it, lacking meaning and a consequence lacking validity. I do want you to be aware that evaluation, which is bolted on, is not awarded in this style of question. However, analysis, even critical analysis, will be if logically flows, and the answer is developed as part of the analysis. So let's think about your second part of your answer, the second paragraph. So you would start with a second type of data. This time can be qualitative data, and show understanding by explaining what that is. And that will gain you AO1 marks. Then I start to apply it to the methods that sociologists might use, such as unstructured interviews, observations and documents, to start to gain that AO2, and develop that application further by applying examples of studies justifying why they use this type of data in their research. Gain analysis by continuing to link further concepts and ideas just to justify their use, and offer some critical analysis towards the end. So you've answered the question, what can you do now? So to make sure that you don't miss any of the question out, using the highlighters often help. So AO1, do you show knowledge of what the question is asked? Have you used the correct terms? AO2, have you applied to relevant examples of method studies and research? And have you done AO3? And this will ensure that you've done what the question is asking. So overall, when answering a 10-mark, outline and explain. Remember to show the AO1 knowledge of both parts of the question, show how part A links or affects part B, and offer a deeper explanation, analytical point to finish. So massive thank you for watching. If you have found it useful, please click that like button, please subscribe, share it, add any comments, and have a go at some of the other 10 markers that I've done tutorials for. Have a great day, and I shall see you soon.